Testing 1, 2, test, test. Testing 1, 2. Good morning if you're watching the stream, or good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world with us today. I thank you for stopping by and saying hello. My name is Grizzly Bear Sims. My real name is Jerry, and if you are familiar with my channel, then you're familiar with the kind of videos that I make. And if you're not familiar with my channel, if you've just stumbled on the live stream, then welcome. And what I'm doing this morning is just doing some prep work to get ready for another recorded video that I'm going to be doing here shortly today, this morning. But I've wanted to do some of my off-camera work. I've wanted to live stream some of that since pretty much I play Farm Sim 17 pretty much the same way off camera as I do on camera. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to actually be able to interact with those of you that watch my channel on a regular basis. So there is if you're not familiar with the Lawfolds map, there is a grass meadow that's just up above the main farm area, and the only way to get into it is from behind the sheep zone. And this is where all the gold nuggets are placed if you collect the gold nuggets. And so I went ahead and cut this and left this as grass, and we're going to bale this grass just for our cows, which we're going to be adding here pretty soon. Now, also, if you're not familiar with my channel, then you may not know about the Seasons mod. And if you are familiar with my channel, then you probably know pretty much everything that there is to know about the Seasons mod. But in any event, the Seasons mod does control the fact that animals cannot eat grass in the winter time. So we're just going to go ahead and bale this up as grass to fill up for our cows, at least our dairy cows, fill up their requirement for grass, which should get them through the rest of the late summer, fall, and through winter. Not sure how many grass bales we'll get out of this field, but we'll soon find out, I suppose. So I did. I cut this field actually off camera last night, Friday evening. I'm in the USA. I'm in the Mountain Time Zone in Colorado, so it's something like 7:30 in the morning right now for me. And I cut this last night. I also spent a bit of time on our multiplayer server last night, the Dude Ranch. That's the official multiplayer server of the Three Dudes Gaming Network. But I cut this grass field and tethered it with the new Kuhn tedder, which is quite a remarkable piece of equipment. Kind of expensive, about $102,000 or so to get into it, but it's pretty incredible the way that it works. Well, we'll go up here and start at the top and kind of work our way around. Feel free to say hi in the chat if you care to do so. I am watching the chat. I don't have the chat on the screen just because, because I think that it just gets too much stuff on the. As a matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and hide some of those HUDs out of the way. All that chat and everything on the screen that some folks put on their live streams just kind of gets in the way, and I'm not expecting huge numbers for our chat, so I think we'll be fine. I think you guys can keep up with what's going on. If there's any interesting questions, I'll make sure that I read the question and answer. If you have questions, feel free to post them. If you just have comments, if you just want to say hi, that works as well. Kind of figure the live stream is a good opportunity for me to kind of interact with some of you guys, some of you that I consider friends. If you're following my channel, and if you're hanging out over at the Three Dudes Gaming Network or over at PCSG, then just go ahead and kick these bells out right here. But if you're hanging out over at the Three Dudes Gaming Network or at PCSG, then you're probably interacting with me through the forums. And again, I just kind of thought that live streaming would be an opportunity to just to talk to you guys and gals about Farm Sim 17 and this wonderful virtual world that we live and play in. So I have the auto stacker that goes with this baler, but I kind of figured that this field is quite small that I wouldn't necessarily mess with that right now. And so I disconnected it down in the other meadow, which we'll be going to and baling that momentarily. And that auto stacker stacks 8 bales at a time, which will come in handy. And what I'll be doing is this field is all grass. I did not tether this, so this will remain grass, and we'll use this grass bales to, like I said, to feed our cows through the rest of summer and fall, and then in the wintertime we can't feed them grass because the soil or the seasons mod will restrict that. But the other field, our main hay meadow, grass meadow, I tethered all of that, so all of that is hay. So we'll be baling a portion of it and using the auto stacker that goes with this baler, which again, like I said, stacks 8 bales of hay and drops them in an 8 bale stack, which makes it easy to pick up. And then we'll kick the at some point, once we get several stacks of 8, we'll kick the auto stacker off and single stack or single bale the remaining amount of hay into just regular bales like we're doing here, and then come along and wrap those square bales with the new Kuhn square bale wrapper. It is not morning. All right, well, Farming Simulator 17, happy midday to you. It is morning where I am. It is just after 7:30, 7:35 in the morning in colorful Colorado, the mile-high city of Denver, which is where I live. So anyway, that's the plan, and we'll probably do the live stream through all of the baling process. So, and then I will probably cut the live stream off and start my recorded session, which will be showing off the Kuhn square bale wrapper, and that'll probably be the extent of my gaming for this morning. I've got some items on my honeydew list that I need to get done. Farming Simulator 17, are you a subscriber of my channel? Do you watch my videos regularly? Hi Duncan. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. For those of you that are watching, please check out my channel, my videos. I'm doing series on Lawfolds. This is actually the Lawfolds map. I was doing a series on Coleborough Park Farm, but since the 1.4.2 update that Giants released last week, frame rates are so bad on Coleborough Park Farm that I've pretty much given that map up. But you know, it's so heavily played as well, and of course because it's a carryover from Farm Sim 15, it you know, I've played the heck out of that map in 15 and also in 17, and so I've kind of put it on the back burner for now until either Giants releases yet another patch to fix some of the still existing problems with 1.4.2, or something changes with the Coleborough Park Farm map. So I'm not really sure what will happen, but I've also got some things coming up at work that's going to take a little bit of time away from me, so I am kind of scaling back just a little bit. I was doing 6 videos a week, 3 on Coleborough Park Farm and 3 on Lawfolds, and so it's just I need to scale things back just a tad for a couple of weeks anyway, until I can get some projects done at work, and gonna have to do a little bit of traveling also in about 2 weeks as well. So what time is it in the USA? Well, Duncan, it is 7:38 in the morning in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. So a very good afternoon to you at your 2:37 in the afternoon. So my Saturday is just getting started. I managed to sleep in just a little bit. I do try to get a little bit, at least another hour or so of sleep on the weekends, just because I'm typically up about 5 a.m. during the week, and often already at work by 6:30. And I got in yesterday evening just after about 6:30 yesterday, and managed to eat dinner and spend a little bit of time with my wife, and got on the multiplayer server, 3 Dudes Gaming Network, the Dude Ranch. And on our multiplayer server we have Pine Cove Farm set up, and Pine Cove Farm is by Stevie. I'm sure you guys have already heard of that map. It's a really beautiful map, and we've got that set up, and we've been doing some big farming on that for the last couple of weeks, I guess. Am I a farmer? No, I'm not a farmer. I am an IT guy. Okay, so I think that's all the damage that we can do here on this grass meadow. And like I said, I left this as grass so that we can get to picked up so that we can feed this to our cows. And of course the seasons mod prevents the feeding of grass in the winter time, but that's okay. We've got a small head of sheep here on this map. We were only doing sheep on this map until I started having the problems with Coleborough Park Farm. And then since I've stopped playing Coleborough Park Farm, I have decided to move over and do all of my farming on Lawfolds. And so we're going to get into all the animals here on Lawfolds. So that's why we're basically doing this this baling exercise here, is to get prepped for cows. And we'll come around here. Our hay meadow is just to the left here. I mowed that and tethered that and raked it. Well, actually the episode of Lawfolds that came out today, I think that's episode 21. I think that's the episode that I did the raking with the new Kuhn rake. I had mowed it in episode 20 and tethered it as well. And so here's our automatic bale stacker here that goes with this baler. This is a mod, and if you see a mod that I'm using in the game with any of my recorded games or the live stream stuff, I do maintain a mod spreadsheet, and you will find all the mods that I use on that mod spreadsheet. And you can get to that mod spreadsheet by going to grizzlybearsims.com. Again, that's grizzlybearsims.com. And let's see if I can get backed up to this. That should do that. Okay, let me get caught up with the Big Matt. Good morning, Grizzly. How are you doing today? I am doing just fine, Big Matt. It is I think it's the start of a very beautiful day outside. It's 7:45 here in the morning. The coffee tastes most excellent. I've got a nice big cup of coffee here, and it is most excellent this morning. Got to sleep in just a little bit this morning, which will help out. It's a 3-day weekend for us in the US, by the way, as well. It's President's Day on Monday, so my company that I work for, that is a company holiday for us. Duncan, do you know where the cow farm is on Lawfolds? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, the cow farm is just sort of straight up this dirt road, the direction that I'm heading. If I were to just continue to drive up this dirt path up here, if you see, and hopefully you can see it on the live stream okay, but that facility that's just right up there past that, maybe that wheat field or that canola field, I can't tell what it is from this far out, is your dairy. So if we pull it up on the, well, I got to bring my HUDs up here. If we look at it on the map here, where we are located It is just on the other side of field 2 and field 3. So basically you just drive down this path and the dairy is right up there. TBF, hello. How's it going, man? Hope you're doing fine. Hope your Saturday is wonderful as well. I know that you've got a start on your Saturday from mine. Okay, I need my HUD here to see how to get all this stuff turned on here. This this auto stacker, I've used it once. I did. I've already, I thought that I had mowed and baled all the hay that I would need on this map for at least this year, because as I was saying just a few minutes ago, I was just planning on doing sheep on this map, and because like I said, I was doing the full complement of animals on Colebrook Park Farm. Let's lift the pickup up so we're not dragging it across the ground. I was doing the full complement of animals, cows, pigs, sheep, over on Colebrook Park Farm. But with 1.4.2, with the update the Giants released on, what was it, Tuesday, Monday, something like that, Colebrook Park Farm is not feeling very well. It's very, very poorly. Very low frame rates. I have tinkered around with it. I've removed mods. I've done everything but restart the game, and I'm just not going to restart that map because I've done so many times. And I know that some people don't have any problems at all with Colebrook Park Farm. Some do. Tyson, who is a friend of our channel here, he's also having some problems with Colebrook Park Farm since the 1.4.2 update. And it's funny because Eustace Pharmer is having problems, really significant problems with old streams. As a matter of fact, it's crashing his game, and it looks like Giants has actually pulled the old streams map from, or at least it wasn't available on the mod hub yesterday on Friday afternoon. Now, I haven't looked this morning. It might be available again, but they had taken it down, I guess because of the problems with the game. But yet I was talking to somebody else last night on our multiplayer server, the Dude Ranch, and they weren't having any problems at all. So I think, there's just no, if I'm having a problem with Colebrook Park Farm, it doesn't mean that you're going to have a problem with it. And likewise, if everything is running fine with Lawfolds for me, it doesn't mean that it will also run fine for you, because there's just so many different variables that sort of go into it that it's hard to, mods and all that stuff as well. So it's kind of hard to be for sure whether or not things are going to work just perfect. All right, so our baler here is full, so we need to unload it. And let me get this thing around to that, and then I think it's wide to unload. And the odd thing about this, I guess what I don't like about this this auto stacker is the fact that it unloads the bales just fine. It's very similar to the other auto stacker that we have in the game, and then we can pull forward and we can lower it. But the odd thing is that it doesn't go back into the operating position by itself. And so if you continue going, see how it brings the gates in? You got to hit the B key again to make them go back out wide again, because otherwise it won't accept the next bell that's coming down the conveyor, and it'll just become a big mess for you. So that's the only thing that I don't like about this auto stacker, is the fact that you got to remember to hit the B key again to put it back into the operating position after you unload the bells. Good morning, Grizzly. Summertime. Thanks so much. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Jordan David. Hey, GBS. Hey, back to you. And let's see, Illinois Farmer on the FSUK forum, Bullet Bill thinks it has to do with animated gates. Okay, well, thanks so much, Illinois Farmer, for that update. You know, I had not even thought about, you know, it's one of those things, and I work in the world of IT. It's how I earn my living, and and I've been doing this for almost 30 years as we go through the magic curtain here. I'm going to go ahead and just clean up this row here. Anyway, I work in the world of IT, and you know, when somebody reports an issue, whether they can't log into a server or they're having, you know, we're having email problems or whatever, you know, I kind of go into troubleshooting mode, and I go through my list of things that I know to try to help resolve their issue, whether it be, you know, on their end, or maybe it's a server issue or something like that. And it's kind of, you know, it's kind of automatic in a sense to me. But it's funny because you get frustrated and you sort of get into the heat of things. And I'm just going to go up here and turn around and then go back on the other side. You get into the heat of things and you start trying to troubleshoot this, and you know, the first thing I did was I removed, you know, most of the mods, and at least I removed some of the mods that were slightly different from what I was using with Lawfolds, because again, I never had any problems with Lawfolds at all. It's just been working fine with all the updates, and thankfully. And so so you go through all of that, and then, you know, the obvious thing, which would have been to actually go out and read the FSUK forums, because that's obviously where Bullet Bill hangs out, that just completely slipped my mind. So that's so hey, TBF, if you're still on the channel, I know you're playing old streams. Are you having any problems with the game crashing? Because Eustace EP is. So and again, they took that map down off the mod hub. All right, we've got our 8th bell here. We're gonna stop and unload after we get it to the right thing. T's in 84. Hey Grizzly. Well, hey, back to you, T's in 84. Tyson, welcome. Good afternoon, Tyson. I know it's afternoon where you are. Yeah, for those of you that are on the channel, definitely go out and check out TBF's videos, his channel. TBF is one of the 3 dudes over at the 3 Dudes Gaming Network, and he's also listed in my featured channels list on my channel, so you can get to his channel from my channel. And so for those of you that have popped into the channel since I started streaming this morning, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And I'm just doing this. I'm going to bell this field, and then I'll probably shut the live stream off, because I'm going to essentially record my next episode, which is going to be picking up pretty much right after we get this belled. And but I'm baling some of this. I'm going to use the auto stacker that I'm doing right now to bell the stacks of 8, and this is going to be my hay supply for my dairy cows. And then I will drop the auto stacker off, and then just single bell the rest of it, and that is going to be where we'll end the live stream, and the recorded session will pick up, and I'll be wrapping the square bells for silage with the new Kuhn square bell wrapper. And unfortunately, you guys will have to wait until Monday to see that episode. But where's the face cam, Tyson? Well, you know, you guys tune into these videos to see, is that 8? We gotta leave that HUD up so I can see how many bells we have. You guys tune in to watch Farm Sim channels to see all the agricultural stuff, not to see my ugly mug. So TBF, my old streams is an edit version, so mine works. Yeah, that's I guess it's probably a good thing that it is, because a couple of people, like I said, have had problems, including EP. Yes, Jordan David, TBF has great videos. That is that could possibly be an understatement. His videos are most excellent. So definitely, you guys that are out there, go out and check out TBF's videos, his channel, and add that. Go ahead and click that subscribe button, because they're that good that you'll want to make sure that you catch each and every one that he releases. So yeah, so like I said, these stacks of 8, we'll leave these as hay, and we'll feed these to our, obviously to our cows as hay, and then I'll drop the auto stacker and start baling single bales for silage. I figure that's the quickest thing that we can do. I could have hauled the grass up to the silage clamp, did all of that, but the thing about it is, there are still issues with the silage bunkers in Farm Sim 17, and I've just pretty much gotten used to just baling and wrapping for silage use, and that that tends to work best for me. I mean, to each their own. I did some silage on old streams when I did that series, and it actually worked fine. And I did silage on Stevie's Goldcrest edit, and that also worked fine as well. But some maps, there's problems, and I've just pretty much got to the point where that I'm just gonna, for now at least, wrap and do it that way. And of course, now that we have the square bell wrapper, that's going to speed the process up quite tremendously. Because before, like on Coleborough Park Farm, I just belled that in round bells and then wrapped it with the in-game wrapper. And that's a much slower process, because it is slower to bell round bells and all of that. So at least this will be a little bit quicker. And I think what I'll do is finish this row and then the row to the right in stacking them 8 bells to a stack, and that will probably be all that we'll need for hay. And then maybe the rest of it I will do single bells and then wrap those in the video. TBS says, I'm just looking up the controls for the gearbox add-on, as I didn't get how it worked. That's something that I have not even taken a look at, but Tyson has talked to me about that before, and it's something that I told him that I would eventually take a look at, and I will, buddy, just as, I guess, as soon as I get some time. But we'll get there eventually and see what it has to offer. And Colin Mack, this is my first video with you. Well, welcome, Colin. I appreciate you taking time to stop by. I'm just having some fun baling some hay here this morning, and hanging out with you guys and drinking some good coffee this early morning here in Colorado.
And for those of you that are new to my channel that have not watched any of the recorded content, like all the other YouTube folks that say, I would appreciate it if you would like this live stream and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that so much. It does help motivate us, that is for sure. And again, if you're kind of new to this auto stacker, I was pointing out a few minutes ago that the only thing that I really don't like about it is the fact that you've got to put it back into its operating position automatically. But I guess that's a small price to pay to have your bells stacked quite quite easy. It's quite easy to come around with your telehandler or your front end loader or whatever and pick these up. Or of course you can use the auto loading trailers if you so desire, which I do from time to time. You know, it kind of depends. If I'm doing off-camera work and I just really need to get things done quickly so that I can set things up for the next video, then I'll use the auto loading trailers and stuff. But from time to time I will also, you know, bring up the telehandler and the bell spike and load up the bells, you know, because that's how, obviously that's how it's done in real life. There is no, you know, there is no auto loading trailer, or at least like the flatbed type trailers that we have in the game, which are auto loading. Those obviously don't exist. But as I say in my videos, there's no right or wrong way to play the game. So if you want to take advantage of some of those features and functionality to kind of help make things a little easier, certainly do that. Or if you want to be hardcore and do everything manually and pick one bell up at a time and stack it on the second bell, and then stack the third bell and the fourth bell and then load it on a trailer, that's fine too. Jordan David, yep, I use full setup G27 with pedals and shifter. Yep, that's my setup as well. I love my G27. My only problem with my setup is that my office in my home is down in my basement. I finished my basement out a couple of years ago, and because it's in a basement, I put in a sort of a simulated. It's vinyl. It's a vinyl floor that looks like a wood floor, and I sort of figured that would be the best solution for, you know, a basement kind of situation where, you know, we don't have a flooding problem necessarily, but you never know. You could always have a flooding issue with a basement just because, well, it's underground. And so, but unfortunately, my office has got this vinyl floor, vinyl wood looking floor. And my chair that I use, which is a nice, comfortable office type leather chair, has wheels on it. And like playing ATS or ETS2, when I go to clutch, my chair rolls back, and so I need to find like a little rug or something to put under my chair so that my chair doesn't roll, because every time, you know, my chair doesn't roll with my accelerator or my brake pedal, because I can kind of keep one foot, my left foot, kind of, you know, on the floor, and it prevents it from rolling back. But anytime I go to basically clutch, where I'm using essentially both feet to either, you know, gas clutch kind of combination, my chair rolls backwards, and it's kind of awkward. All right, I said we were only going to do that other row, but I lied. We're gonna finish this long row here with the 8-bell stacker, and then I think TBF and I think Jordan David are having a conversation in the chat about steering wheels and such, and TBF had mentioned that he had hoped that Logitech would update that farming sim wheel setup, and I agree. I that has been a little bit of a disappointment. I'll be honest. I never tried it because before it had come out, I already had my G27, and so it was kind of, well, it was kind of a moot point to even take a look at the farm sim setup, at least the wheel and the pedals, because I had the G27, and in my opinion, and I'm sure most of you will agree that have the G27, it's far superior than the Cytec farm sim thing was. And when Logitech bought Cytec a few months ago, maybe a year ago now, I can't remember exactly how long that's been, but I think the hope was at least that Logitech would improve the design, because you go out to some of the forums, especially on the Giants forum, and you just read comment after comment after comment from people who have essentially gone through 2, 3, 4 of these Logitech Farm Sim wheel sets, because basically after a few hours of gameplay, and if you're as hooked on Farm Sim as some of us are, you know, it's not unheard of. I've already got almost 300 hours in 17. I've got 700 and something in Farm Sim 15. But you play these games for any length of time, and if the hardware, like in the case of the Farm Sim stuff, if it's not well made, then you know, it's just going to wear out. And I've been doing simulation-based gaming for years, mostly flight sim stuff. And I've got some CH products. I've got a CH product yoke and rudder pedals and such. And my rudder pedals are about 12 years old. And my yoke is actually, I've gone through 2 yokes in probably 18 years. I mean, that's a pretty good, I'd say that's pretty good track record. That's pretty good value for money. And I've got thousands of hours in the flight sim. I've got, you know, I've got like 2,000 and something on VATSIM alone, I think. And I know that that's not very much compared to some people, but you know, that it's still quite a number of hours. But yeah, I would hope that Logitech, because actually, this is my opinion. You talk to other people, and they may tell you something different. But comparing Cytec to Logitech, Logitech has always had better quality stuff. Yeah, Cytec has a much probably more bigger range of stuff, and their stuff has been historically a bit less expensive than Cytec. I'm sorry, Cytec's has been a bit less expensive than Logitech, but the quality's there. You know, I've got a Logitech joystick that I no longer use, but I had bought it for flight sim probably, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I know if I plugged it in, it would still work. I don't use it, but you know, if I did, I know it would work. Matthew, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. How are you today? Well, good. That's good to know. Jordan David just posted that Logitech owns the rights to the wheel setup, and they're planning to fix it. Yeah, Logitech completely bought. They bought Cytec, so yeah, they've got everything. And I figure, you know, from Logitech's point of view, I'm sure it was probably they wanted to see, you know, what the demand was for the equipment, and especially, you know, with 17 coming out. And so I think that, you know, obviously they've done that, and I think 17 is as big of a success as 15 was. And so it's no doubt that Logitech will obviously fix everything. But of course, if you bought one of the early editions, by now your warranty's done, and you may be having to buy it again. All right, well, we're going to drop the stacker here, and we're going to single stack the rest, or single bell the rest of this stuff, so that we can come along with our wrapper, our Kuhn square bell wrapper. And so we're just going to drop that guy here, and then come around and then just square bell the rest of this. And sorry about that if I turn too quick, and try not to make you guys dizzy on the stream there. Matthew says, trying to figure out this video editor, hoping to get this edited and up before I have to board our tour bus. My band has a show tonight. Oh, you're talking about your next episode. Yeah, dude, I'm itching for my next fix of your video. I'm starting to have the shakes now. You got me hooked on your channel, and you've teased me with a couple of videos, and I'm anxiously waiting to find out what's going to happen next. It's kind of like that, like you're watching your favorite show, and it's the season finale, and you've got to wait. For those of you that might be old enough to remember, I'll tell you, I celebrated my 50th birthday in October, but let me tell you, back in the 80s, Who Shot JR? I mean, that was terrible. That was such a terrible wait, having to wait, like 8 months, 9 months, or whatever, to find out who shot JR. So that's what Matt's doing to me. He's making me feel like I'm, having withdrawals waiting for his next video. I know, Matt. I know. I completely, dude. Let me tell you, I fully understand. I mean, everything outside of, for those of us that don't do this for a living, I mean, there are folks that obviously their living is making content for YouTube and Twitch and whatever else. I'm just gonna clean up some of these little bits and pieces here. Obviously, their day job is to do this, and so if they have an issue with their computer, or if they whatever, that's obviously a big thing. But I subscribe to the theory that especially for me, and I'm just speaking for myself because I don't do this for a living. This is just an extension of my gameplay, and I enjoy interacting with all of you. And so, but the deal is that life comes first. Everything else in life comes first. As I scoot this bale of hay around, family comes first, job comes first, school, your church, all those kind of things come first, and this stuff comes second. So, don't worry. I'm just giving you a hard time. Matthew, go ahead and tell them what your YouTube channel name is, so that they can find you. You're in my featured channels list as well, so they can spot you there as well. I'm having the FPS issues you're having on Colebrook Park Farm, but on my map, yeah. Somebody had posted, I think you might have just joined, Matt, but there is a Bullet Bill actually posted a note on FSUK forums, and he thinks it's down to the gates. So don't know what's got to come first. I don't know if that's a Giants issue to have to correct, or if it's whoever modded the gates has to make a correction. Then obviously Bullet Bill has to add those corrected gates onto the map, and then that's a new update, and that, um, it's it's funny because I'm sure that most of you who watch my channel and also watch TBF's channel, you guys know who Eustace Pharmer is. Eustace Pharmer and I were having a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about the 1.4.2 updates and the frustrations, because he's having big issues with old streams, and I don't think he's having the problems with Coldwell Park Farm that I'm having. But again, there's no, it doesn't mean that that everybody's safe in that situation. But we were joking, and we're like, well, Farm Sim 17 will become rock solid about 3 months or so before Farm Sim 19 comes out, and that's kind of been the track record. Although I probably exaggerated that just a little bit, because if I remember correctly, Farm Sim 15 was quite stable for quite a long time before Farm Sim 17 came out. And it just is what it is. I mean, I don't, I work in this business. I work in the IT business. I work for a company that develops software, business software. And I guess in the perfect world, one would think that, okay, why can't these software developers do all this testing and all this stuff? Why do they dump and push out this software for us to test for them? Why aren't they doing this themselves? They do. They have testing departments, and I'm more than certain that Giants is testing the heck out of this stuff before they release it, because obviously there's a thing called integrity. There's that is very important in any business, and obviously it's important in their business, and they're not just dumping it out to us to test and then they run along behind it and fix it. And I realize that from the outside looking in, that might be what it appears to look like, but that's really not the case. And there's just so many variables. I mean, the whole mod thing is probably the biggest sort of variable that exists, and it's difficult for Giants to test all the various scenarios and to know all about the mods. And some people run, I'm very, very picky in the mods that I run in my games, and I don't want to run mods that have errors and stuff like that, and I typically don't list any problematic mods that I'm aware of on my mod spreadsheet. And by the way, I'll just plug that. If you're interested in looking at my mod spreadsheet, you can go to grizzlybearsims.com. Again, that's grizzlybearsims.com, and my mod spreadsheet is posted on my blog site. But Giants, I do believe that they try to test everything, and it just takes time. It's just a process, and it's frustrating, but it's just the way it is, and it's the way that it works. I mean, I don't work for a gaming company. I work for a large enterprise software and database company, and if you're familiar with the big players in that, I'll tell you, it starts with the letter O. But the same stuff happens. You release a product out there to the masses, and you don't know about customizations that they may have done on their end, and you just can't plan for that, and sometimes there's problems, and it's just the way it goes. All right, so let me try to catch up here on the chat. Oh, I meant just post the name of your channel, Matt. Yeah, I don't think you can post a link, and that's not a setting that I have control of. It's just kind of a YouTube thing. I know it's Doughboy something 2913, I think. But if you wanna find Matthew's channel, just look to my featured channels list, and you'll find it. And I think, you know, me personally, and I've talked about this in my videos before, um, you know, Giants has actually improved tremendously on the way that they interact with us, their customers, the user base. And I think that's a lot of that's been down to the fact that, you know, Cattle and Crops is done such a wonderful job in putting out information for us. And I think that the dedication that Giants has shown to the modding community, and here's just a couple of examples, and I realize that, you know, a lot of people may not know about this, but with Courseplay as an example, Giants invited the developers of Courseplay to come out to their location, and this was before FarmSim 17 was released, and come out to their location so that they could work together on making sure that Courseplay would be available for FarmSim 17 as quickly as possible. That's dedication. That's commitment. Another situation which occurred just recently, actually, for those of you who are familiar with the Auto Combine mod from FarmSim 15, you may know that Auto Combine and Auto Tractor were combined into a single mod called AI Vehicle Extension Mod. And I did a video on this several weeks ago, so if you want to go through and look for that, I did a mod review of the AI Vehicle Extension Mod. Well, the modder, his name is Mowgli12, I believe, is what he goes by. He was having problems with the AI Vehicle Extension Mod, and by the way, that mod is still in development. It's still a work in progress, beta, all that good stuff. But he pretty much gave up. He posted a note on his GitHub that he was essentially stopping production, stopping development, stopping everything on the AI Vehicle Extension Mod because of some problems that he ran into with the 1.4 update. And Giants reached out to him and talked to him, maybe helped him in some way or another. And I don't know all the details behind the conversations or the actual assistance and everything that was given, but essentially Mowgli is back in business. He's released 2 or 3 updates since all this happened, and it's coming along. So that's a commitment, a level of commitment that, you know, I don't know that we've seen in previous versions of FarmSim before. So that's remarkable, and that, to me, as just a gamer, I am not a modder. I can go in and tinker with things just a little bit. I can increase the capacity of something if I want to, but that's about it. But as a gamer, as someone who just plays the game, that commitment that Giants is making towards the modders is huge. It's huge, and I think that is going to be. I think that's gonna help them survive in this new competitive world that's coming out as far as agricultural-based simulation games go. And let's face it, some of the stuff that we've seen that's come out prior to FS17, you know, they're struggling. Those titles, you know, it's never going to do anything, I don't think. But I think that Cattle and Crops, and I'm an early adopter of that, and so you'll start seeing some gameplay on Cattle and Crops here in the next couple of weeks. We're within that 2 to 6 week window where Cattle and Crops has said that the game should be available for early supporters. So March 2017. So we're just a couple of weeks from that target date. But that's a pretty big window. That's still, like I said, 2 to 6 weeks window, and it could be longer because, you know, I want them to release it when it's ready, not to release it when it still has some problems. But I think that if Giants continues with the way that they're supporting modders and continues to enhance this game, FarmSim 19 will, Farm Sim will continue to live on. But if they don't, if they turn their back to the modding community, because let's face it, I've got 700 hours, 700 and something hours in FS15. I've got almost 300 in 17. So let me ask you all a question that's watching this live stream. FS17's been out for a couple of months now. Would you still be playing this game if there were no mod vehicles and no modded maps? And I think the answer to that question is no, you would not be. Or at least you would not be playing it with the amount of passion and excitement and intensity that you're certainly playing it, because it would be boring. I mean, quite honestly, I got bored with the default Goldcrest Valley within just maybe a few hours. All right, let me get caught up on the chat here. Matthew says, thank God he didn't quit. These modder haters need to quit hating. Without mods, this game wouldn't be the same. I love my mods and appreciate it. Yep, you're actually preaching to the choir, buddy. Rebel 96, I think it's Giant trying to keep some modders with FS17 is why they're reaching out. Matthew says, I just supported CNC2. I'll have my early release too. Yeah, and that's exactly Red Rebel 96 has a very good point. You're absolutely 100% right, because we have already seen some modders essentially develop a few things or fix a few things that were working fine in 15. They adapted those to work in 17, but they basically said, this is as far as we're going to go with it because we're getting ready for cattle and crops. Well, that's great, and I look forward. I hope that, well, actually, my wish is that cattle and crops has, and maybe not in March, because now keep in mind, folks, cattle and crops, the preview release of cattle and crops is going to be very, very, very scaled back from what the original or what the full game is going to be. It is a preview release. So, like, for example, when a modder releases a mod for Farm Sim 17 and it's a preview release, or maybe a map, for example, and we've all played those. TBF is excellent at showcasing preview maps and such, and it's just a preview. It's not finished yet. It's still a work in progress. Well, that's going to be what you're all going to see on my channel and everyone else's channel that's part of the preview, this early adopter program for cattle and crops. Is you're going to see that preview release game. There's going to be limited functionality with it. But what I don't want to see happen is basically all of the modders that have been creating wonderful content for 17, 15, 13, 11, etc., all pull the plug and go running to some other game. But what I was going to say was that I would hope that eventually, when Cattle and Crops comes out and it's in its full-blown version in the fall of this year, that it has some of these features that we have to use mods for, like, for example, courseplay. I would hope that in Cattle and Crops, in its final release in the fall winter time frame of 2017, that it would have that kind of functionality, that it would have GPS functionality built in, that it might have the follow me type functionality built in. These things could be turned off if somebody doesn't want to use them. So, I think a lot of maybe Giants is the reason why they've been reluctant to put some of these things in. Maybe it's too difficult, I don't know, but maybe they feel like, well, if we force someone to have to, do something, plow 3 times or fertilize 3 times, for example, that's why they made that feature where you can turn that feature on and off, because some people don't want to mess with that. So, courseplay, for example, might be too complex to force everybody to use, but you can just have the feature in there, and if somebody wants to use it, they can turn it on and use it. And if they don't, then they don't have to use it. Because it almost takes a PhD to operate courseplay, and that's just a joke, by the way. But you know, there are plenty of YouTube videos that will help you figure out what you need to do with courseplay, and courseplay actually, it's coming along quite nicely. I mean, it's still sort of a work in progress um, for Farm Sim 17, but it seems to work really nice. And I have, because of the problems, and because actually I thought that the AI vehicle extension or auto combine was never going to be. I had pretty much got to the point to where I was using courseplay for everything, even like, you know, combine work. If I needed to have some help or something, I was pretty much using that. So yeah, Matthew agrees with me. The game is nothing without mods. He wouldn't be using it. And I think, you know, that applies for all these types of games. ATS, ETS2. I mean, you know, ATS is really struggling because unfortunately, you know, the maps that are the modded add-on maps like the Coast to Coast, which I've not taken a look at that in several months. It's quite possible that it has vastly changed, but I know that when I was messing about with the Coast to Coast map mod for American Truck Simulator, that, you know, it was just basically cut and paste scenery and such. But you know, I mean, how, and I actually I enjoy ETS2 just as much as I enjoy ATS, but you know, how boring would ETS2 be without pro mods and without like the, you know, the Russia map add-on? So I mean, I think these game developers fully understand that mods extend the game. It extends the life of the game, and you know, really helps them to you know, obviously it generates sales and everything because it extends the life of the game, so more people are getting in. I'm sure Giants is still selling FS17 because people will come out and they'll watch YouTube channels like mine or Matthews or TBF's or Eustace or whoever, and they'll go, oh well, that looks like a cool game. They go out and they buy it. Like me, this is my story of how I got into Farm Sim 15. Was, again, I had been a hardcore flight simulation enthusiast, and I'd been playing all the flight sim, you know, FSX, P3D, etc. And I've got you know, add-ons and everything out the wazoo with that simulation game. And so I had subscribed to a few people on Twitch, and that primarily did flight simulation Twitch streams. And I saw somebody farming, playing FS15, and I sort of thought, I'd heard about Farm Sim 15, but for whatever reason, I was sort of liking it to Farmville on Facebook. And you know, trust me, I get so tired of all those messages on Facebook from my Facebook friends that play Farmville, wanting help on their farm and everything. That's kind of what I thought it was. But then anyway, I saw this live stream on Twitch, and I'm like, well, that's pretty darn cool. You know, that's pretty darn cool. There's, you know, you can bale hay and mow grass and cultivate, plow, seed, harvest, tend to animals, all this kind of stuff. And so I bought it. Okay, I bought FS15, and I played vanilla FS15 for about a month or so before I really, you know, took advantage of maps and such as that. And I'm going to stop making those turns because I know I'm making you guys seasick. So we'll go ahead and unload here. If I hit the right button. All right. So anyway, I got into mods, and you know, like I said, I've got over 700 hours on Farm Sim 15 and almost 300 on 17. And unfortunately, I played Farm Sim 15 all the way up to like the day before the release of 17, and I've actually not looked at Farm Sim 15 since 17 came out, because, you know, and I sort of thought, well, I will probably go back and play Farm Sim 15 because I really thought that it would take months before good mods would come out, and my gosh, I mean, there were mods coming out for Farm Sim 17. Stevie released his Goldcrest edit within just a few weeks of it being ready, and you know, that was just so cool. And so yeah, we just, you know, I never looked back at Farm Sim 15. I know some folks are still doing YouTube content on Farm Sim 15, finishing up their series, or you know, whatever. Not sure how many views that kind of stuff would get, but in any event. All right, so let me see how the chat's going. Let's see. It would be refreshing to have another decent farm sim. Yeah, I think that's what Cattle and Crops is going to be for us. I think that's going to be truly sort of the next big thing. And I think that will, you know, if Cattle and Crops does what they, you know, they say they want to do, and what they've been previewing and everything, then I think it will give Giants a very good run for their money. TBF says trying to get, so on a map you can have two farms that run separate. So on multiplayer you have a farm and friend's farm, and you both have cows, sheep, pigs, chicken, but you have 1,000 cows. Your friend has 100 cows. Um, yeah, that would be cool. I think you're talking about maybe having, you know, being able to have independent farms on a multiplayer map. That would be kind of cool to be able to do that, so that people that frequently play the multiplayer will have sort of their own piece of the prize, instead of all of the monies and everything going to who happens to be the owner of the multiplayer. Who would have thought mowing grass could be so fun? Jordan, that is absolutely, I tell you what, I think I mentioned a few minutes ago that I turned 50 in October. So I grew up in the 70s and early 1980s, you know, when music was awesome. But and and so I put myself through, you know, buying all the things that I needed as a teenager in the early 80s, by mowing grass, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it with a passion, because I had like 4 or 5 yards, and the going rate to have someone mow your yard back then, especially where I grew up in rural Texas, was about $10 for a really huge yard. And of course, that included running the weed eater, sweeping the sidewalks. I mean, literally, I would spend, like, you know, half a morning to earn $10. But but I managed to, you know, buy all the cool things that I wanted to have. You know, Sony Walkman. That was, by the way, just a cassette player, you know, back in the day. But that was all cool. But yeah, I grew out of wanting to mow, but I love mowing in this game. Mowing in this game is probably my favorite thing to do. Um, and I think that I'll tell you, I mean, and I've said this in my videos. I'm gonna just drive this back to the main farm and probably end the live stream here in a few minutes. But I've said this in my videos that one of the reasons why I play farm sims so much, um, and it's hard for me to kind of go back to flight sim and even like ATS and ETS2, but with farm sim, there's so much to do. There's such a variety of things that you can do. In flight sim, yes, you can mix it up. You can fly a 747 or a 777 or a 737, or you can go into the, you know, the GA, general aviation prop type aircraft. In ATS, you can drive a Kenworth or a Peterbilt, or, you know, a Volvo mod. And in ETS2, you can drive a Scania or a Volvo, or, you know, a Veco or whatever. But it's pretty much all the same kind of thing. In farm sim, yes, you're still pretty much operating equipment, but you can, if you want to, if this day you want to do a tractor, you can drive a tractor. If you want to drive a combine, you can do a combine. If you want to mow, if you want to plow, if you want to cultivate, if you want to seed, there's just so many different things that we can do in this game, that it just makes it so much more. The variety, what I'm trying to say is the variety of things that you can do are just pretty cool. All right. They had a map like that on 15 called Pleasant Valley. Had 6 different farms with independent silos. Yep. And I think isn't Pleasant Valley for 17 coming along? I believe I read something about that not too long ago that they were actively working on Pleasant Valley for Farm Sim 17. So, oh, there you go. Well, Jordan David just answered my question. PV 17 is on FS 17. It's made by um, DAJ who made PV 15. So there you go. All right, well, Matthew, well, I tell you what, folks, please take a few minutes, subscribe to my channel if you would be so kind, and check out my videos when you have time. And like I said, I want to do more live streaming, just kind of doing some of the off camera, because I would have done all this off camera by myself, and obviously wouldn't be talking to myself, but this has been interesting and it's really helped pass the time. I mean, already it's an hour and 10 minutes or thereabouts that I've been doing this, and it's felt like it's only been about 30 minutes. So I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. I'm going to end the live stream here, but do go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that very much. And I do plan to do more live streams of my off-camera stuff, just so that we can hang out and check out PCSG. Also check out the Three Dudes Gaming Network as well. And we've got a multiplayer server that's part of the Three Dudes Gaming Network called the Dude Ranch. I was on it last night with about 3 or 4 guys, and we were harvesting. We're playing Stevie's Pine Cove Farm on the Dude Ranch. That's running right now on that multiplayer server, and we're going to run that for a couple of more weeks probably, and then take a look at what is out there that would be a nice map to do a multiplayer some multiplayer fun on. But definitely check that out. So thank you all for joining and for watching. I appreciate that. And TBF, thanks for hanging out as well. That's been cool. And I will see you all. You'll see my wrapping session for using the new Coon Square Bell wrapper on Monday. That'll be out in episode 22 of Lawfolds. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and take care, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye.